The myths and realities of professional speaking is our very own precious CSP, Dr. Michael Lee. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're here again. Let me just address one thing that, how's the audio, Jim? We're good? That we've talked about it quite a bit, which seems to be on your minds, and that's the words paid professional speaker, which Craig believes is redundant. Because if you are a professional speaker, I assume you're being paid, right? But why? What's the big deal? I was talking to someone who was thinking about joining the academy, but she was saying, I don't need the academy, I'm already speaking. I said, oh, okay. She said, but I'm just not getting paid. And I said, no disrespect, but it's not hard to get free speaking engagements. You can do those all day long. The reason we want to get paid to speak is because obviously there's an audience that needs our message. And we get paid to speak so we can take that message to more people and make a living at this. So that's why it's important to get paid. And the more people pay, the more they appreciate what you do. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works. So when in doubt, write this down, get paid as much as you can. Okay, I know it's really deep, but all right, so you have a handout. Feel free to follow along. First of all, I've been a professional speaker for almost 30 years now. And I'm all over the place. So about NSA, the National Speakers Association, what is it? This is the leading organization for professional speakers in the world. Founded in 1973 by our founder, the late and great Cavett Robert, who you will hear much about. We have over 3,000 members internationally. And to qualify, you have to do 20 paid presentations in a year or earn $25,000 in speaking income in a year, or if speaking is a regular part of your 9-to-5 job, you could also qualify for NSA membership. So when in doubt, let us know, and we'll be happy to talk to NSA about your particular situation. But basically what this says is you are speaking for a fee. You are paid professionally to speak. So there's me and Cavett, probably about 1980 or so, somewhere in that range. 85 that would be. Cavett was a wonderful person. When you go to a convention, when you go to an NSA chapter meeting, you can still feel his spirit. What you feel is people who are helping you for nothing, like now, okay? Because none of us, as I mentioned earlier, get paid to speak to you, to come down here, to drive across the bridge, to pay all the gas and all of that. And the reason we do this is because Cavett used to tell us that if someone does something nice for you, you should do something in return. And so what we do as professional speakers is we help other professional speakers to thrive and survive in this business. And that's what the chapter's all about. That's what the convention is all about. If you ever get a chance to go to our convention, usually in July, you're going to feel the spirit of Cavett alive today. And I hope when I'm long gone, people at least can feel the legacy that I've left in that spirit as well. So we have NSA chapters all across the country. And this is an opportunity to meet locally on a regular basis. So we have 5 meetings a year. We also have, as Craig mentioned, have salon meetings, which is open to NSA chapter members as well as members of the academy. And so it's just an opportunity to meet, educate, connect, and network. And so we have over 40 chapters in the U.S. And so if you're traveling, like I was just in Chicago, and if you're traveling around the country or around the world, you can always connect up with some of the folks there. Sometimes they'll take you out to dinner. Sometimes you'll be asked to speak at their chapter meetings. You just never know. But you have family when you're part of NSA no matter where you go in the world. And it's a fabulous thing. Northern California chapter has 5 meetings a year. We have our summer holiday party. We have meetings all over. And again on the 27th, we have the chapter meeting coming up. And so again, this is one of the meetings that we've got coming up next week. And so, Craig?
And they've already paid for it.
You should, but you do need to sign up because we need to know how many seats to put out and that. And the only thing that is not included, we don't even have lunch anymore, do we? So you don't even have to worry about that anymore. We used to have to pay for lunch in advance and things like that. So, but you do need to sign up on the nsanc.org website and just let us know that you're coming. And it says Academy participant. Just check that box. There will be no charge to you, but at least we know you're coming. And it's a great way to connect with not just Academy folks, but people who are members of our chapter from all over Northern California. So we have the Speakers Academy. You are an Academy participant. Even sometimes today you'll hear you're a member of the Academy. You're actually not a member because member really only applies to NSA members. So just try and get into the habit of saying, I'm an Academy participant. No one will throw you in jail if you say you're an Academy member, but member generally, when we say member, we're talking about NSA members who are members of the national as well as our local chapter. Linda?
Technically, I am an Academy member of the national.
Yeah, so if you're actually you're just a member because you're a member of NSA National. So no problem there at all. And again, the benefits, you get to attend chapter meetings and other events. So let's talk about the changing world of speaking because it has changed dramatically. I started out in 1985 and there were people like Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, big keynote speakers making big bucks. The problem was when you got out of one of the Tony Robbins seminars, you were all fired up and ready to go, but then what do you do with that? You know, you were fired up with enthusiasm, but okay, now what do I do? If you didn't have enthusiasm and some competency, then you couldn't really use it. So the focus has been more on content. So in 1995, we had an economic downturn, and we've had one also in 2006. With every downturn, the same thing has happened. Motivational programs have lost favor. So that's why you will rarely hear anybody at NSA say, I'm a motivational speaker. Because it generally means I'm motivational, but I don't have any content. So, and obviously nobody wants to say that about themselves. So we are content speakers. In 2001, content became the focus. September 11th, people didn't want to get on airplanes very much. All they wanted to do was get good information, but they wanted to get it in any way possible. So today what people want to know is, what kind of content do you know that you can bring to my audience? What do you know that nobody else knows? Because they're not going to pay for you to tell them what they already know. Excuse me. In 2011, we started focusing on something called ROI, return on investment. So if I bring you in to speak and I pay you $15,000, how much of that money do I get at least $15,000 back somehow? And so if you're a big, well-known speaker and you can attract at least people paying $15,000 more than they would have if you weren't going to be there. So like I was on the dais with Mike Ditka, which not a lot of people remember these days, but Mike Ditka, one of the most famous coaches, is certainly in Chicago, Chicago's Bear coach and others, you know, but he gets paid to get up there and just tell stories for an hour and he gets paid very well. And I texted my wife and I said, boy, I wish I could just do this. It'd be great, you know. So you've got to have some learning outcomes. As a result of your presenting, what will they be able to do or use or take away? So what are you going to take away from this program? You're going to learn how to succeed as a professional speaker. Whether you do succeed or not, the choice is up to you. But if you ever get a chance, wander on over to the other room where the Academy people have been in there for 9 months. They have a chart that shows how often they have been paid to speak. And you'll see some of them already have finished their 20 paid presentations, which means they're already qualified to join NSA. Okay, so it's an amazing thing to do. You'll learn, what is my potential for success? What you'll find out is the most talented speakers are not always the ones who succeed in this business. Craig, I, Jenny, Jim, Christy, we've all seen wonderful speakers come and go, and come and go. You go, why can't they succeed? Because they don't know the business of speaking. They're wonderful speakers, but they can't get the next engagement because they don't know who their audience is. They don't know how to charge. They don't know how to develop product, and that's what NSA is here to help you do. So you don't need to be the world's greatest speaker. And if you've seen some of the top speakers in the world, they're not always great speakers. But man, they've got great content. People are riveted by their great content. Now, if you're a great speaker and have great content, you are going to go real far in this profession. You're going to learn what your current speaking competency is because your fellow speakers will give you feedback on how you're doing. So you're going to be up here probably at least twice during the next 9 months and present a little bit of your material, maybe 3 minutes or 5 minutes of your material, and you're going to get kind, gentle, but productive and positive feedback from your fellow speakers. And remember, these folks have nothing to gain or lose by this. If you're Toastmasters, I'm not saying anything negative about your presentation. You know why? Because what happens when I'm next up, right? I don't want you to rip me apart. These folks are not going to rip you apart, but they will give you honest, objective feedback because it's to help you grow. And I know Craig's going to coach you on how to do it in a kind, supportive way. You'll learn how to support other speakers. It's really important. If you see something that a speaker could do better on the platform, let them know. And they're going to do the same for you. Also, if somebody's missing one day, remind them to watch the video. Grab handouts for them if you're in their area or something else like that. Carpool, support each other. So what does it take to be successful in this program? Number one, you got to participate, both physically, which means be here and be here on time. Why is that important? There's traffic, there's all kinds of things. If you're doing a keynote at 9 a.m. and you show up like Mike Ditka showed up late, he got stuck in traffic. So now we're holding the whole meeting for him, which is a bad thing, and it's bad for professional speaking too. But it looks bad for all of us, doesn't it? And by the way, but we're just the Academy. We're not Mike Ditka. It doesn't matter, does it? Well, if you always show up late, and an opening comes up for a speaker that somebody else finds out about, and it's right up your alley, but are they likely to hand you that lead? Probably not. Why not?
You always show up late.
You always show up late, and they're afraid that if I refer you, my reputation's going to be smashed because you're probably going to show up. If you show up late for this, for God's sake, how about a paid presentation? So I've done, 1,600 presentations and have never missed one. But that means that you've got to plan on being early. Sometimes you have to arrive the night before even though you don't want to. You've got to plan for things. You've got to expect things to go wrong. And if you arrive early, hallelujah. You'll have a little coffee, you'll enjoy, you'll relax, maybe you'll do some work, but there's nothing wrong in arriving early. So you're expected to be present physically and mentally. So be here mentally. Participate. And again, attendance is crucial. Let your team know if you're not going to make it. They'll take notes for you. They will support you. Confidentiality. Anything that is said here stays here. Because you've already heard some very heartwarming but very personal issues from a lot of folks that they may not have shared with a lot of their friends and family yet. So it's really important that if you go home, don't use anybody's name. Don't use anything that could be identifiable. We have this really short person in the class who, walks with a cane. I won't tell you their name, but here's what they said today. Okay, please keep everything confidential as you would appreciate other people keeping your information confidential as well. So again, today we're talking about the myths and realities of professional speaking. You'll have an opportunity after I'm done for you to ask any question you want about the speaking business. Anything you want. Okay, so get them ready. And don't hold anything back because it's an opportunity to get those questions back. If there's something that's been on your mind for years, how do you actually get paid to do this? What do you make? How did you get paid $15,000 to do that? Whatever it happens to be, ask it. Next month we'll be talking about topic development. How do you figure out where your knowledge and your expertise intersects your passion? That's really important because you're going to be talking about this for a long time with a lot of people. And so if it doesn't excite you, trust me, you won't really like it. Somebody was asking me, well, how did you get into what you're talking about, selling to people from other cultures? I never would have thought of that. Are you kidding me? I'm a fifth-generation Chinese American. My great-great-grandfather came here in 1855. I'm as American as anybody. In fact, I'm so American I don't even speak Chinese. Thanks to the California public school system, I speak Spanish. So diversity was never in the cards for me. And yet somebody said to me, I was a realtor for many years, and the California Association of Realtors said, in 1985, they said, there's all these Chinese people coming out of Hong Kong and buying property in California. They had no idea that in a few years, Hong Kong would lose its lease to mainland China. But the people in Hong Kong are all thinking, man, when the commies take over, all of my land and my businesses and my home is going to become worthless. So they sold everything and brought it over here, and they drove realtors crazy because they negotiate everything. And they have all these weird beliefs like this feng shui stuff. And so they said, could you just come and help us understand this and help realtors to sell to Chinese people? So that's what I did. And then I moved it and expanded out to include Hispanics, African Americans, people from the Middle East, and just anybody from another culture. And that's been my career. And then somebody said, a woman in one of my classes said, this is a great class on how to sell real estate, to people from other cultures. But my husband owns an Acura dealership. And they have exactly the same problems that we realtors do with their car buying customers. Could you come talk to Acura? I said, well, I guess I could. So I did a lot of research and presented to Acura, then General Motors, and then I moved on into oil companies like Chevron, and then insurance companies called and said, can you help us with our insurance clients from other cultures? And then people in the financial services industry. And I just finished in Chicago this week on working with remodeling salespeople. On how do you work with remodeling customers from other cultures? So you never know where your path will lead you. But take a hint. Your audience will always tell you what they want you to speak about. Your audience will tell you. If you'll listen. For years I fought it. I don't know anything about diversity. I don't want to know anything about diversity. I'm an American. Well, that's what my audience wants. They look at me and they're thinking, he's Asian, but he's also American, you know? And so I am, for whatever reason, a bridge between the American culture and all the other cultures and people that are different. I would never have chosen it, but that's what I'm given to do. And I love doing it. But that's what my audience told me. Who would have thought? In November, we'll be talking about the markets for professional speaking. Like I said earlier, there's more than just corporations. There's nonprofits, there's churches, there's schools, there's government. It goes on and on and on, and you're going to have a whole session on that. So you don't have to just speak to corporations, although it certainly can be lucrative. In December, your marketing plan. Okay, so now you know who your market is. How do you reach them? In January, we talk about materials. You'll actually develop your own marketing materials. We'll talk about marketing, and then you'll have an interactive session where you will develop your own materials for your audience. But you've got to know your audience first. That's why before we targeted your audience. Then we'll talk about product development. So I will be back to help you understand how do you develop product that markets you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then in March, we'll talk about, again, good to great presentations, storytelling, improv, and so much more. We're building on what you learned today. We only scratched the surface. If your head hurts now, you just wait. Okay? This is like drinking from a fire hose. So take great notes, but on the way home or when you get home, find some time to start prioritizing. Okay, when I came back from my first NSA convention, I had 16 pages of little tiny things I wanted to do. But I prioritized them, number 1, number 2, all the way down to 137. And I just started ticking them off. Okay? So prioritize. In April, we'll talk about how do you run your office. Okay? Very important. How do you write a contract? How do you make sure people pay you? If they don't pay you, what do you do? If they pay you and then they cancel, what do you do? It's very, very important. And how do you look like a professional when it comes to running your office, even if you're working out of your own house? Even if you're working out of your mother's house, how do you still look professional and compete with other companies that are multi-million-dollar companies? You can do it. I've never had an office in my life. And again, Coca-Cola, Chevron, all the big companies in the world, they have no idea that I work out of my house. And it doesn't matter to them. I have all the amenities I need, but to them, I'm as big as anybody. And then, of course, in May, we'll talk about how to implement everything you've learned. You'll be doing that along the way, but after you leave the academy, how do you keep this going? And that can be a challenge. Okay? For some of us, Maggie, we can come back into the academy periodically, which is great to reconnect. But you can also stay in connection with these folks as well as the other folks, as well as other folks in NSA that you will meet along the way. And do save that evening, because on the 16th of May, you'll have graduation as well, which I believe you'll be in charge of putting together, because I know Craig doesn't want to worry about that. And it'll be a whole lot more fun if you do it. Okay? All right, so there is something called personal responsibility, though. If you are going to be successful as a professional speaker, who is responsible for your success?
You.
We are, right? We can give you all the tools and all the support and all the coaching in the world, but if you don't implement it, if you don't start sending out some postcards, making a few phone calls, as we might suggest, then the rest falls on your shoulders. So what are the basic requirements for success? Personal responsibility. Being responsible for doing the activities that are going to make you successful. There's only one person you control, and that's you. You're also responsible to your group. You'll have a team, and you'll take notes for folks. You'll introduce them when you do showcases. You'll help support each other. They become your accountability group. And many of our accountability groups, even from 10 years ago, are still together today, meeting on a regular basis. It's powerful. But do remember that what you do, both positively and negatively, impacts other people, even if you think they don't know or they don't see it. So we'll talk about ethics along the way, but ethics is what you do when nobody's looking. But remember, speaking is a very small community. And so your reputation is absolutely everything. So set a high standard and just maintain it. If it ever crosses your mind, I don't know, it doesn't quite feel right, maybe you ought not do it. Right? And those things will come up. Every month in our Professional Speaker magazine, on the last page, there's always this little ethical quiz or challenge. You know, somebody used my story, what should I do? You know? Okay? And there's always some great answers to it. So have a look at that. So what kind of skill requirements do you need? Treat speaking as a business. It's not a hobby. It's not something you can dabble at. Now, you can do it part-time before you transition over. Many of us did. But you've got to treat it as a business, which means you have to get paid to do it. It can be very expensive to be in this business. Travel, copying, websites, videos, all the things that you need to be successful can cost money. Now, we will help you to do it in the least expensive way possible while still looking really professional. That's our job. It can also be very time-consuming. So treat it as a business. Only spend your time doing it if it helps your business. So the woman I was talking to who speaks for free, I speak for free periodically, but if it's to the right organization. If I speak for free to the right organization, other people within that group are going to book me to speak for a fee. You got to have business skills, which is more important than speaking skills, which you can develop. You can develop your speaking skills, but you can definitely develop your business skills. But why is it more important than speaking skills? Like I said before, you could be a wonderful speaker, but never make it in this business, and we see them all the time. But if you've got good business skills and you're an okay speaker, you'll do fine. If you're a great speaker, get out of the way. But many great speakers fail because they can't do the business side. Sales ability. Nobody can sell you like you. So every once in a while, you're going to have to get on the phone and talk to people and tell them why you're the best at what you do. You'll need to talk about your competition in a very positive way. You know, they're really great people. Let me tell you what I do differently. You know, I have this experience. I go deeper here. I provide this kind of coaching. You can also hire a sales agent who will make all the calls, but eventually you're still going to have to talk to the client and sell you. What the sales agent will do, by the way, they're not inexpensive. Most of us don't want to do the sales stuff. Be prepared to pay $3,000 to $5,000 a month for someone to get on the phone and just call, which I've done, but eventually, I've got somebody who's interested, but they want to talk to you. Well, guess what? You will have to do that. So most of us start out being our own sales agents, which is a good thing. You got to know how to market. If you can't get to the people who need you, forget it. It doesn't help. People have got to know you exist and what you can do for them. So success in this business is all about people. Who needs what you know? It's not your topic. I could speak on virtually anything. Nuclear physics, whatever. I could do a lot of stuff. I couldn't answer any questions. But I'll give you a great lecture on nuclear physics, okay? But I could not answer question one, which is a problem, but most of us could speak on virtually anything. But there's a lot of people, for example, who talk on sales. Okay? That's not what I do. Okay? So, who needs what you know? You've got to be able to manage your time. It's the only thing we really sell in this business is time. You're on the platform, you're doing interviews, you're doing research, you're writing your handouts, whatever it happens to be. You've got to be a good time manager, and there's never enough time, and yet there's always plenty of time, depending on how you manage your time. But if you just let your time manage you, that's going to be a real problem. Follow through. If you don't return phone calls, emails, texts, they're not going to hire you. Even if they're just asking a simple question. Are you available? Well, yes or no. You've got to do what you say you're going to do. Because when there's an audience, so I was in front of 500 people on Wednesday. I mean, if they're going to trust you to be in front of 500 of their clients who are paying good money to be there, you must do what you say you're going to do. You show up on time. You show up early. You're prepared. You don't walk in late. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in traffic. Only if you're Mike Ditka can you do that. I guess. I don't know. You've got to be reliable. You know, can people count on you to be there, prepared and ready to go? I've done over 1,000 presentations in my career, never missed a one. Consistency. You've got to be good over and over and over again. How do you get good? You practice. Nobody gets good, usually, instantly. You get up, you fumble around. You go, well, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands, you know, that kind of thing. You know, how do I stand? Do I walk around? What do I do? You'll figure it out. We'll help you, but you'll figure it out. But over time, you become more and more comfortable on the platform. People are amazed. I get up there in front of 500 people, and I don't use a podium, but there was one there, and I couldn't move it. There was no way to move it. I tried. I get up there, and I just stand up there, and I just put my arm on the podium, and I go, yeah, I'm Asian. And they broke up laughing because there wasn't an Asian person in the audience. And I said, I'm the person you're probably having trouble with, you know, when you go to their house. Yeah, they loved it. But be great every single time. When you go to the West Coast or the East Coast, you know, I had a presentation the day before at 9 a.m. That's 6 a.m. our time, which means I had to get up at 4 a.m. to get ready, have a little breakfast, and then get ready to go and set up my PowerPoint and everything else. You got to be good. It's real tough to be good when you're tired. Build and maintain relationships. It all starts here, if not before here. Every one of these people in this room can be your ally, supporter, champion, and friend. I hope they will be. And then, of course, everybody else you meet along the way can help you. But you never know who's going to help you in this business. It's amazing. It's an amazing business. But it's all about relationships. And you're also going to meet planners. You're going to meet bureaus, people that can help you along the way. But build relationships and learn how to build relationships. Planners are people who hire people for meetings. Bureaus are people who just book speakers. They're not the golden egg of speaking. Because bureaus, they're out there, but they only hire speakers who are making big bucks. So if you're making $500 a presentation and somebody else is making $5,000, who are they going to book? It's not us. So there's an old saying about bureaus that bureaus don't need you until you don't need them. I mean, that's it. I don't need a bureau, you know. And your fellow speakers, of course, are part of your relationship. So you got to have good content. It all starts with your content. What do you know that nobody else knows? What valuable information do you have? Or can you develop? Given what you've learned in life, on the job, at school, when it all comes together, what do you know that nobody else knows? The delivery is important. It makes the content go down easier. So if you're a decent presenter, it really helps. Now, in different industries, it's different. So if you're an accountant or an engineer, it's real easy to be really good on the platform because most of those people aren't very good presenters, right? So if you're an all good, you blow them away. But if you're in, like, I speak to salespeople, they are all good already. That's what they present all day long for big bucks. So you better be really, really good in front of those folks. But if you have passion, that's not something everybody can bring to the platform. Most important speaking skill of all, though, connection. Got to connect with your audience. That doesn't mean just give them content. Oh, you know, it's $350,000. That's not connection. Connection is showing how this information impacts them and why it's important to you and why they need to listen to you. It's all about connection. Show your heart. Show who you are. Be willing to be vulnerable up on the platform. I make more fun about myself on the platform than anything else, and people love it. Because they know I'm human, and what they learn from that is it's okay to have fun with diversity. I have tough audiences. When I walk in and they think, oh, we're doing a diversity presentation, most people want to shoot themselves. I mean, seriously, right? Oh, it's diversity day. You know, when I get up there, we just have fun from one end to the other. And that's different. Be honest, though. They'll figure it out real fast if you're not honest. If you don't know something, say, you know, I've never heard that before, but I will find you the answer. And then do build great speaking skills. And again, the only way you can do that is do it over and over again. Record yourself and listen to yourself. Watch yourself. It is painful. Okay? But you want to do it so much. I caught myself one day going, man, that guy, you know, he really needs to say this. Oh, shit, that's me. You know, but you listen to yourself so much, then it becomes like a third person. You should not think about your speaking. You shouldn't get up here, but you will initially. Oh, what do I do with my hands? Oh, I'm standing, well, I should stand like this. After a while, it's just like you're speaking, you know, to somebody in your own home because you really are. So we're going to teach you how to make a connection immediately with your audience, whether it's 5 people, 500 people, 5,000 people. You've also got to work on your voice, which means your pitch should change from high to, when you're excited, you get really high in pitch. And then when you're talking about something really important, sometimes your voice gets low. Let it do that. You do that. Everybody I've talked to, we all do that naturally. But then when we get up here, we all talk like this. I don't know why it is, but we all do this. Stop it. Just be you. Okay? Volume. You know, you get loud when you say something, and my problem was I was always loud. I was loud this, and people kept saying, well, I could hear them the whole time. But people said, you know, what if you try to be a little softer sometimes when it's important? So much more power to that. Pace. Mine was always frantic because I had so much material I wanted to give. It was all like this all the time, and they thought I was from New York. Okay? So sometimes you need to slow it down, okay? Pull it back a little bit. Okay? So very important. And body movement, again, move with purpose, as Fripp would say. Make a point. Stand there and make a point. If you want to move, then move over here while you're just talking about something else. Then make your point over here. But when you're making an important point, always come center and front. And that's where you make your most important points. And stand still. Move with purpose. Gestures are just going to be natural. The thing that drives me crazy, symmetrical gestures. Because at the beginning, what we tend to do is, oh, we have to gesture. Okay, so I'm going to gesture like this, you know, so. But all the gestures are both hands exactly the same. You're working on it, I can tell. But just be aware of your gestures. Emphasize certain points, de-emphasize others. Not everything you say is important, I hope. And the transitions are crucial. From one thought to the other, from one story to the next. That's the art of speaking. Making logical transitions from one point to the next, but linking them so it all flows together into one cohesive piece. That's the art of speaking. How do you get to be a full-time speaker? The biggest roadblock, money, right? So what you're going to do, we're going to help you to do more and more speaking. Maybe you'll speak for free to work on your speaking skills. Then you'll start charging a few bucks. You'll charge a little more, a little more, a little more. Pretty soon you'll start thinking, man, I'm making more money doing this part-time than I'm making in my full-time job. Maybe I should move over. And that happened to me, and I know it'll happen to you as well. All right, personal attributes. You've got to have self-confidence in this business. Every time you speak, you put your ego on the line, and you can only charge what your self-esteem can bear. A lot of bureaus would say to me, Michael, you charge too little. And then I decided I'd charge a little more. So how's your self-esteem? If you want to know, you can go to this website, queendom.com. It's a cool website. They've got all kinds of assessments. And if you go to the attitude and lifestyle, there's one called self-esteem. Take it and see how you do. But you can only charge what your self-esteem can bear. You need a healthy ego, but don't get carried away. You got to be confident, but not ego-driven. Confidence is key. When you speak, every time you speak, your ego's at risk. And you got to be physically fit too, though. Very important. This is a tough and physically challenging business. Why? Let me just give you an example. In 26 days, I was on 19 airplanes, 19 airports, 76 hours in the air, 22 hours in airports, and 32 hours of speaking in 26 days. Okay, if you're not in pretty good, and I'm not talking about dragging luggage, product, just physically, and eating crappy food. Okay, so please take care of yourself physically as well as mentally, and balance. Work hard, play hard. Or you can do like I do, you can marry a Filipino. Okay, I'm an A type, she's like a D type. Are we taking a vacation? So now we're going to a trip to Australia in November. She makes time. She makes sure I take time off. So balance is the key. You've got to take time off. Build a community. You need a support system. But you also have time to take time off to do it. But your support system consists of your family, your friends, your fellow speakers. Thinking about forming a mastermind group. Now, how's that different from the groups in here? Mastermind group are people at similar levels of development in your speaking career. So, but you choose your mastermind group. You might approach some people at NSA and ask them, would you like to be part of a mastermind group? It's up to you. But speakers at similar levels of development. And how do you ask for help without being a pain? Because it happens. One of the reasons the Academy was invented is because people kept saying, all these new speakers keep coming up to me and asking me like they'd ask Patricia Fripp. I heard it today. Can you tell me how to become a speaker? There are books written on that. For God's sake, ask me something I can answer in one question. Ask me something. So how do you do that? Be specific. I'm having a challenge coming up with a title for my topic. That's fine. How to become a professional speaker is a little broad, right? Be mindful of people's time. Speakers don't need a free lunch. If you make $15,000 a day, I don't think you need a free lunch. But you might be willing to spend 30 minutes having coffee with somebody. But having lunch is not a big incentive to most speakers. Buy the book, Speak and Grow Rich, by Dottie Walters, one of our most famous NSA members who has now passed on. It's called speakandgrowrich.com, or you can get it on Amazon. It's a beautiful book about how do you get into the speaking business? What is a bureau all about? Everything you need to know is in that book, at least to get started. It's the Bible of speaking. Don't ask Patricia Fripp, how do you get to be a speaker? For God's sake. There's also another resource called SpeakerNet News. Free. SpeakerNetNews.com. Every other week or every week they come out with tips and ideas about speaking. People ask questions, problems, those kinds of things. And you got to have a niche. The biggest challenge in speaking is picking a niche in which to speak. How do you find your niche? We'll be doing that next month. But a niche is not a topic. It is an identifiable group of people. The first people I spoke to were realtors. Then it became car salespeople and then financial planners.
So niche is your audience,
It's your
not
audience.
just general content.
It's your audience. Then you build your content for that audience. So I have different talks, same topic, which is selling to people from other culture, but do you think that topic is the same for Coca-Cola and Ford Motors? No way. But it's the same topic. What do you bring to an audience is your content. And being unique is not enough. Jenny?
Michael, I was just looking at this. Could you address the role of support staff when you were under asking for help?
Uh-huh.
Would that be okay if you could address that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of things can be done very inexpensively. Either you get a support staff or you get somebody to do something specific for you. So I wanted to take my book and convert it to an audio book. Well, I don't have time to do that. I could do that, but there's 26 chapters. I don't have time for that. So I went to a little website called Elance, E-L-A-N-C-E. And there's also Odesk, O-D-E-S-K. These are freelancers who will do anything legal, and sometimes not, for a very low fee. So I got somebody to write audiobooks, turn all of this into an audiobook for like $25 a chapter. I mean, come on, can you do that? Is your time more valuable than that, for God's sake? So delegate, delegate, delegate. And the thing that I think I've seen Jenny do over the years that has really, really skyrocketed her career. Now, I know you won't believe this, but as you get to know her, maybe you will. Jenny is a perfectionist. Jenny, would you agree? Recovering, okay. But when I met her, everything had to be absolutely perfect, the right hue, the right color. You can't do that if you delegate, because you got to allow people to do it their way at their time. She has learned to do that. She's got some fabulous staff today. So you don't have to do all of this stuff. You just have to figure out, what do I want to do and how do I get it done, or ask people, and they'll figure a way to get you there. Right?
What was the Odesk and E what?
E-L-A-N-C-E.com, elance.com. All you do is you put, here's what I want, and you can have them bid on it, whatever. It's amazing. I've had transcription done for like $5 an hour or something like that. Yeah, it's incredible. So, being unique is not enough. Surviving a debilitating disease. Wait till you get the NSA convention. Cancer, heart disease, plane crashes. You'll see people with no arms and no legs. I mean, I go, I wish I could have a little of that, but not that much,
Ken Futch?
Oh my God, Ken Futch accidentally shot himself in the head and survived.
The lengths people will go to develop.
Yeah, keynote speech. It's amazing. Oh my God. Yeah, Ken is such a wonderful man though. But surviving a disease is not enough. Being a movie actor, climbing Mount Everest. You'll meet like 37 people in the first day that climb Mount Everest. Big deal. All right, so I'm sorry. But I did survive a debilitating disease. I am a motion picture actor. I did write 8 business books. I'm a top-selling salesperson. I'm the dean of a university business school. All of that, and that's still not enough to be unique. Okay, so who's your audience? Okay, so what's so great about speaking? You get to travel. sometimes too much. You meet great people, and that you definitely do. Possible fame, but don't count on that. It can be a side benefit. I mean, Patricia Fripp is the most well-known person in professional speaking. But you walk out of professional speaking, nobody knows who she is. But she's good with that. She's good. Money can come, but again, if you're willing to serve your clients, the money will come. But you do get to travel. This was us in, I speak on cruise ships. And so this is one of the ones where I spoke in Asia. We just got back from one in France, Germany, and England. We're going to Australia. So we get to travel a lot. Okay? And I get paid to do it. So, wonderful thing. So again, what's the job like? Develop your speaking skills. Just speak. Get out there and speak. And you'll keep improving. Decide on your topic. Figure out your audience. Where's your passion lie? If you could only give one speech, your health is still good, but you can only make it another month, and then you'll just fall over dead, but you'll have good health until then. What would be the one speech you would give? If it didn't matter about money, if it didn't matter about audience, what would be that one speech you would give? And that's probably the one that'll make you the most money. Develop your niche. Make more money. Makes it easier to market. Just remember, there's 640 speakers in NSA that talk about motivation. Just motivation. Good luck in competing with them. There's 386 who talk about communications. And these are well-known people. 383 people talk about sales. 106 talk about time management. 71 talk about diversity. Okay? Only 3 talk about selling to multicultural customers. I'm one of those. So that's how I figure out my niche. How are you going to figure out yours? You can pull this off the NSA national website, nsaspeaker.org. So just remember, a niche is an identifiable group of people, not a topic. And again, the demand for your topic goes down as you get more esoteric. Down at the bottom, again, this is Maslow's hierarchy of need. Physiological needs, then security, then love and belonging, and at the top is self-actualization. There's very few people who are in a position to hear about, making yourself a better person. There's a lot more people interested in making money at the bottom. Just to let you know, your choice. Hone your skills in your topic. There's the animal circuit that you can start out with, speaking for free. That's the Moose, the Elks Clubs, the Lions Clubs, the animal circuit. Come on. Record your demo video while you're out there. Determine your fee. Your fee is whatever people are willing to pay and what your competition is charging. What do similar speakers charge? What value do you bring? But if people can get it from anybody else, so there's 687 people that do motivation, well, you're not going to get paid very much unless you're a well-known speaker. What you can charge is determined by the demand for your knowledge, your uniqueness in the marketplace, and the relative affluence of your industry. So if you're speaking to churches, okay, they don't have a lot of money. But if you have product, maybe you can make a pretty good living, in the nonprofit world. If you're speaking to bankers, they have money. You can charge a ton of money. Now, I don't suggest you choose your topic based on that, but just to let you know, that's the reality of the situation. If you can market yourself, you could even charge more because you can make yourself well-known and something that is really attractive to people. And if you can build celebrity, it helps. But you can build celebrity. I wrote a book called Black Belt Negotiating. I wrote a bunch of articles on negotiating. Okay? I wrote a book on how to justify your commission. I wrote a lot of articles on that, and I wrote that book there, as you know. And again, I write articles about that. So in these areas, I am a celebrity. Not outside those areas. Market yourself like crazy. Articles, books. Articles are the best way to market yourself because they're credible advertising.
Which journals?
Oh, yeah. Well, depends on what your audience reads, though, right? Depends. Just let you know, keynoting, you've got to have stage presence. Keynoting is generally on the left, standing up in front of a couple hundred, couple thousand people for 60 minutes, 45 minutes, 90 minutes. You've got to have good stage presence. You've got to bring awareness, and that's all you can do in 90 minutes. But if you're going to do training, you've got to have good depth of knowledge. You're speaking in front of 35 remodeling salespeople. There's more collective knowledge in that room than you got. So you better know your stuff. But you've got to teach them something new. When you're doing training, if you don't walk out and in the first 30 seconds tell them something they didn't know, you lost them the rest of the time, whether it's for an hour or a day or a week. Tell them something they don't know. Keep improving your skills, critique every program, record every program, keep honing your topic. So somebody said, you know, the biggest problem I have with selling to people from other cultures is they negotiate all the time and everything. So I wrote a book called Black Belt Negotiating. Take questions from the audience. Those questions will lead you to other presentations. Well, what about feng shui? And what about feng shui? What about feng shui? Well, guess what? I did a section on feng shui. Added that back in. Raise your fee, because as you get better, you should be worth more, right? As you get more knowledge, you should be worth more. But as you're quoting your fee, when somebody says, what do you charge? There's one word when you quote your fee you never want to hear. Oh, sorry. What's the one word you never want to hear when you quote your fee? Yes. Because if they say, so if I say my fee is $3,000, say yes. What does that mean? Your fee's too low. You hear it all the time, raise your fee. Sorry. Develop product. That earns you money all the time, gives you credibility, gives you more flexibility to speak to groups that you may want to but can't afford you. Build a business, not speaking engagements. Build something you can sell to other people. But if you're constantly going from one engagement to the next, you're going to burn out real fast. But if you've got product, if you have online training like Fripp does, you know, that's a business she could sell tomorrow. She could step back and retire. She just keeps making videos once in a while from the Bahamas or whatever it is. It's great. It's a business. But before you hire anybody to help you, ask them, how much money have you made as a speaker? Because if they've never been in this business, they don't know what we go through, and they aren't going to be able to help you because this is a business unlike any other. Have they run a speaking business? Again, same thing. Ask for and contact their references. How can I talk to 3 people who are currently your clients or past clients? And ask them, how was the experience? Was it worth the investment? Because as Fripp mentioned, there's a lot of people who will offer their services to you and ask you for $3,000 for this and $2,000 for that. You know, be very careful. Get references. Have a clear list of outcomes for what you want them to do. And what happens if the outcomes are not met? I hope I don't pay you. That better be one of them. And always work with people that are more successful than you. Watch out for people who charge a membership fee, because that goes on and on and on and on and really adds up. Okay, we're going to take some questions, but we'll do it as a panel. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If I can help you in any way, you've got all my contact information at the bottom of my handout. Thank you so much for being here. Best of luck in your speaking career. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.